may or may not have heard the news that broke last week, spilled into the weekend about M.A.R. Barker, creator of the Empire of the Petal Throne and Tekumel. Rather than paraphrase what is slowly becoming generally known, I thought I will just quote in its entirety a statement that is directly from the Tekumel Foundation. These are the folks who have been caretaking the Tekumel setting and all the various materials since Mr. Barker died, I believe, right about 10 years ago. Let me go ahead and read their statement. The Tekumel Foundation Board of Directors statement on Serpent's Walk. The Tekumel Foundation Board of Directors wants to acknowledge that our research shows Professor M.A.R. Barker wrote Serpent's Walk, an anti-Semitic novel that was published under a pseudonym in 1991. We have done our due diligence to ascertain the facts regarding Serpent's Walk and Professor Barker's affiliation with the Journal of Historical Review, and we believe this needs to be recognized as part of Professor Barker's past. While nobody today is responsible for the odious views Professor Barker presented in Serpent's Walk, we are responsible for recognizing this book as part of his legacy. That this acknowledgement was not done earlier was and is a mistake, and we apologize for that. We have been reaching out to several Jewish organizations to express our outrage over our findings and make our priority to work with them through this issue. What Professor Barker did was wrong, and forever tarnished his creative and academic legacy. As stewards of the world of Tekumel, we reject and repudiate Serpent's Walk and everything it stands for and all other anti-Semitic activity Professor Barker was involved with. The Tekumel Foundation has never been involved with or profited from the publication, distribution, or sale of Serpent's Walk in any way, shape, or form. All the proceeds from sales of Tekumel-related material have gone and will continue to go to the Foundation and its work, and not to any racist or anti-Semitic organizations or causes in any way, shape, or form. I'm not going to tell you what to do with this information. There have been folks online, I've seen the debates raging, so to speak, in Facebook, Reddit, and elsewhere. Of course, there are people on the side who say, listen, I can't play this game anymore. Setting, I've seen people who said, look, I've played this setting for 20, 30 years, and I'm through with it now. Other people arguing, separate the art from the artist. Who cares what that guy did? Doesn't have anything to do with Tekumel. Doesn't have anything to do with your game. Go on and enjoy it. I can see merits to both sides. I personally don't feel like you can just totally separate the art from the artist, but certainly in different media, I can think of actors whose work I continue to enjoy in movies, even though I know that these were terrible people in real life. I think people they're going to draw their lines where they feel comfortable. And I'm not here to suggest for you personally or for anybody else where their particular line is. I can only say for myself, I'm just very saddened by this news. Tekumel was one of those settings that was on my bucket list. And in fact, somebody reminded me of it, sent me an email, I feel like within the last couple of weeks saying, hey, you should really, really play in Tekumel, really do something in Tekumel. And I had bought on the secondary market over the last few years, or now maybe I should say some years ago, some Tekumel materials. I hadn't had a chance to look at them yet, frankly. Now I don't know what I want to do with them. I do feel like for myself, I can't now look at this and just look at it completely divorced from what I now know about Professor Barker. And certainly in terms of, I had been thinking about what I could do on this channel with maybe exploring Tekumel some bit. And now I don't know what I want to do. I think it's beyond a shadow of a doubt at this point. No one is arguing that Professor Barker didn't write these things, wasn't involved in these things. I think now the arguments are who knew and when, because someone who was an archivist working for the foundation who uncovered this stuff a decade ago. I think it was only really resurfaced because there was an academic paper that was written about Mr. Barker, about Professor Barker. And in that paper, I think almost as an afterthought, they kind of threw in something about this Serpent's Walk novel, which then started this latest ball rolling. So it's one of these things hiding somewhat in plain sight if you would just look that way, but people weren't looking that way. Now, who knew? And maybe who had thought, wouldn't it be better if just nobody knew about this, and so we just won't say anything versus getting out in front of it? There are lots of discussions to be had, lots of discussions that will being had in my forums, I posted a couple of longer things. Well, not really a couple. Essentially, I post the full, if you want to read it again, the foundation statement. I've copied it. It's on Facebook, but you may not be on Facebook and whatnot. So I copied the full text. I did link to the original Facebook post and posted it there. In one of the Reddit threads, there was a Redditor who put, I thought, a pretty good breakdown of maybe what stuff, now that we know what to look for, kind of going back into Tekumel and seeing maybe some things that might be troublesome. No, of course, it's not a perfect analysis, and it's everything kind of brand new. So I'm not suggesting this person is completely accurate, and there will be, I think, a ton of analysis and reanalysis and argument over if this thing or that thing has anything to do with Professor Barker's more odious beliefs, or whether it's just a thing. I don't know, but I thought maybe it might be an interesting read. I'll put a link to that forum post in this so you can read that. I didn't really want to talk about this. I saw the original post on Reddit pop up during my OSR Reddit roundup on Friday, and I don't know, I just had a feeling about it. And not being a big Tekumel person at this point, I sort of scrolled by it and said, well, I'll come back to this, but can't deny it. It's out there. So this is all I have for it on the moment. I'm going to listen to you folks in the community to see if there's anything more to say about it. And if there are new things that come to light in a big way, I will probably talk about it, just because I think it's important to get out there. And when I posted this on my Facebook page, I hit a couple of people who hadn't read about it elsewhere. So this will probably reach people who aren't involved in Facebook or Reddit or in those internet forums, but maybe they're on YouTube or somewhere else. I will definitely be listening and reading and watching what takes place, but for me, it just makes me sad. And the question I want to ask is why? Why did you have to do this? Why did you have to feel these things and then write them down? Probably better, I suppose, that he wrote them down than felt them in secret. Maybe, I don't know. At least now we know. Maybe knowing is half the battle, as they used to say at the end of G.I. Joe. Of course, the only person who can answer why can't tell us because he's dead. So we're just left with this kind of, I think I said at the end of my post on the forums, an invisible black hole at the center of Tekumel. You personally may not feel the gravity of it. I think other people are, and they're grappling on how to respond to it. For me at this point, it just makes me sad. That's all I've got on this. Let me know how you feel. Game on. Talk to you later.